Oh, sorry, I was... oh, sorry. I was muted. I was muted. Hello! Sorry. Hello. Hi. Sorry, I was muted. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hi, Wampers. Hello, Chamberlain Rampers. Hi, Chamberlain Rampers. Hi, Chamber Pampers. Hello, everyone. Are there any rabbits in the house today? Maybe a couple rabbits here, maybe a few. Hello. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Hi, everyone. I thought it just may be good to do today without the intro because I was a little late, so I thought I won't keep you guys waiting for an extra bit longer. Good day. Hello. Good day. How you going? Happy Anzac Day, everyone. Happy Anzac Day. Yippee. To any Australians or New Zealanders out there, I hope that you have a great day today. A fantastic day off work. It's a day off work for everybody. Everyone's feeling very humble today. Yes, and I'm feeling really excited and happy to be able to celebrate today with you guys because it's a really humble day and one that I do not want to brush over. One that I think will be a fun thing to teach you guys about today on the stream. Why not? Because a lot of you guys may not know a lot about Australian history. So I'll teach you a little bit about Australian history today. I will say though, today's stream will be a little bit brief. I have a collab in a little bit. What's the time right now? Yeah, so I will probably be streaming for about an hour today for this, and then I'll take a little break and then I'll be back, and me and Miss Lemmy are going to be streaming. We're going to be looking at some animal videos. We're going to be talking about animals. It's going to be really fun. I'll also be teaching her about some Aussie animals too, so if you're interested in anything Aussie, come back later if you want to watch some animal stuff as well. Oh, wait. I just got a message. Lemmy cannot do the collab today. Oh, okay. Okay, something came up for her. Alright. Well. I guess we'll have to postpone that for later. Anyway, I guess I can do a longer Aussie stream today. We can speak of the devil, I guess. Yeah, longer stream, I guess, today. It's okay. I already had plans for today anyway, and that just means I can draw it out for longer and teach you guys more. That's totally fine. That means I can just chill. I can just hang out with you guys. We can talk about Aussie times. It'll be really fun, so don't even worry. And do you guys like my outfit today? Do you guys like my outfit? Did you know that that very hat I'm wearing is the hat that every one of the Anzac soldiers wore in the First World War? I don't know about the second, but I know for sure in the First World War, they wore these hats, which is pretty humble. These humble hats with little schnaz at the top. Really cool hats. Really like them. And I'll explain the poppy on my shirt and everything else a little later, because that kind of gets into the Australia law, okay? There's law to this, and I'll be talking about the law today, which will be really fun. Now, to celebrate Australia Day and Anzac Day, sorry, not Australia Day, Anzac Day, I will be explaining a little bit about what Anzacs are. So Anzacs is the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. Anzac Day is a day to celebrate all of the, I guess, soldiers. Specifically, we like to remember and think about the World War I, what happened. But it's a day kind of like, I suppose, kind of like Veterans Day in America, where we're celebrating all soldiers. So it's a celebration for all soldiers, but we are mostly remembering and going to be talking about what happened in World War I. For some reason, for me, in Australia, at least in my school when I was a kid, we learned a lot more about World War I than we did World War II, interestingly enough. I think it's because, like, it was more interesting as far as the Australian side of things and what we did. I don't know. Also, whenever anyone would bring up World War II when I was in school, It was me. Okay, I was gonna make fun of like a hypothetical boy, but it was me. The person was me that go, oh, World War II. I know about World War II. I can tell you guys about World War II. Okay, I was gonna make fun of a hypothetical, but it's me. It's me. I'm talking about me. I was the one cackling in the back of the class thinking he would have liked you. He would have liked you. He would have liked you, pointing at all the blonde students in my class. He would have loved you. He would have loved you. He would have hated you. He would have wanted to kill you. He would have, it could be, it's a toss-up between you. I mean, maybe he would have liked you. I don't know, it depends. Maybe you'd have to win him over. But anyway, sorry. So that's me. That was me. That's what I was doing. So we... Well, and probably because of kids like me, we learnt mostly about World War One. Because me being the 12-year-old, 13-year-old girl, right? I knew everything there was to know on World War II. I was an expert, okay? I knew everything. So I didn't even need to learn it, okay? I already knew everything. I've been on the internet. I knew about it. World War One, though, we learnt about, for the most part, we learnt about it. Every Anzac Day, we talked about World War One. So I'm a bit of a World War One appreciator as far as knowing the information. I'm not a World War One appreciator, though, obviously. War, bad. I think we can all agree with this. War, bad. Don't like war. Would rather if it didn't happen. I would rather if everyone just had kindness in their hearts and that no one wanted to kill each other would be really nice. I would really appreciate if that were the case. However, war interesting. War bad but interesting. War also cautionary tale. Good to think about, war, because we don't want to repeat same mistake, okay? So it's good to think about it every now and again. Actually, let me just message Miss Lemmy Lycombe back before I get on with this, because I don't want to be rude and not respond to her. It's okay, okay, humble. I just don't want any... Because I know how bad it feels to, like, have to cancel collabs. You know, and I don't want to, like... I don't want to be, like, a cunt. And be like, oh, I'm ignoring you. Because I'm not trying to ignore anybody. Okay? My countryman was blamed for starting World War One, but it wouldn't have happened anyway. It was just the excuse. Listen. Okay? Listen here. Didn't World War II happen because someone died? Was your man the guy who got killed? Was he the guy that got killed? Because that's what I always heard started it. Someone got killed at some point. And then that was like... Yeah, Franz Ferdinand or whatever. Was he Serbian? That was World War One. Oh, the man that killed. Oh, that's tough. That's really tough. Oh, yeah. How does it feel to know that it was that happened and that? I mean, to be honest, the only thing that causes... The only thing that causes war is the people that say, hey, let's go invade this other country. I think. I don't know. Oh, Echo Mori! Hi, Miss Echo! Hello! Hello! Hi! Hi, welcome! Welcome, Miss Echo! Welcome! Welcome! Hello! Did you have a nice stream? Happy Anzac Day, everyone! Happy Anzac Day! Anzac Day is a very humble day that I'm celebrating today. It's for the Aussie troops. And it's a very humble day for all of Aussies here. Yes, it's a day of... Well, I mean, we didn't really do very well in World War One, but we did try our best, and that's what matters. And I think that's kind of... I mean, I'll talk about it a little bit later. Actually, I did write something up for this that I can read out now. Let me just read this, because I did write something up just about Anzac Day so I could get my thoughts together and remember certain dates. I also have anecdotes and stuff in here. I played Pushing It. Oh, not well, but it was fun. Well, that's good. As long as it was fun, that's all that matters. Yeah. I hope that you had a fun stream. Yeah. And thank you for wishing me happy Anzac Day. I actually did some Anzac Day baking. I'll show you. I'll show you later, or you may see it on Twitter as well. Yeah, we did great in the Western Front. Yes, but you know, like, I don't know. This is the thing with Australia. It's that we kind of just, I don't know. We're all very chill people, I think, and we're just like. We're good allies to other countries. So like if someone messes with another country that we're buddies with, we're like, nah, you can't. Like, okay, we're like say, okay, for example, let's just say that I don't know, a good example is America. We're America's friend, right? And let's just say, let me just pull out a random country from my head. Let's just say that Italy was to come and say to America, oh, that's France. Wait, was to say, oh, and New Zealand, of course, was to say, Stomale, America, you a buffo, American, buffo. America would be like, what are you saying, buddy? What are you saying? And then Australia is like, oi, you can't say that to him. And then New Zealand's like, yeah, you can't say that to him. And then we go and we're like, we bring out our like nunchucks and we're like, wah! And then we go and we help America. Yeah, we're like the fellows that help. Yeah, the America's like, what intonation did you just say? Yeah, anyway. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what it's like all about and humble. So we just try to help. We just try to help and everything. Yeah, Fellowship of the West, exactly. The land of poison, venom, and continental-sized Death Valley is friend. Big surprise. Australia needs all the friends it can get. I feel like we're pretty humble. Yeah, I think we're very humble. But yeah, let me just show you guys. I did write something up about Australia Day that will be fun. And a little bit about, sorry, I keep saying Australia Day. It's not Australia Day. Australia Day is in January, which is where we celebrate the First Fleet coming to Australia. Anzac Day is a completely different thing. So let me read what I wrote. So just a little bit. Anzac Day is observed each year on April 25th, which is today for us in Aussie land. It will be, I guess if it gets to like 12 for some of you burgers, then it's getting to Australia Day for some of you. On April 25th to commemorate the service and sacrifice of the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, or the Anzacs. Mostly for the Anzacs that fought at Gallipoli during World War One, which is kind of a big deal. So over time, it has come to represent a day of remembrance for all Australians and New Zealanders who have served in wars, conflicts, and peacekeeping missions. It is a solemn occasion marked with dawn services. So there was actually dawn services. There was a dawn service actually this morning that I heard from outside. Well, not really from outside, but while I was waking up, I did hear some dawn service. So a lot of the time for the dawn service, I've played. I mentioned this yesterday, but I did play my flute in my school's orchestra at a dawn service before. It's a service to commemorate the Anzacs, and basically what you do is there's a little thing that plays. Someone plays like this little song on a, I think it's a trumpet. like that. Brr, brr. And then everyone's like, oh, I'm so sad. And then also there's wreaths. Some people make wreaths out of flowers and they place it to commemorate the Anzacs. You can go to like places where there's like grave sites and other places where Anzacs, or even like there's lots of places around Australia where we have sites where lots of Anzacs are buried, or you know, soldiers are buried, and you can go and there's lots of services around all of Australia on the dawn, so when the sun is rising, basically. Yeah. So yeah, there's wreath laying ceremonies and parades, and I guess just like a reflection as well. Anzac Day is not about glorifying war, obviously, but about honoring those who served and remembering those who never came home. Because unfortunately, as I'll talk a little bit about the Gallipoli campaign that Australians and New Zealanders did in World War I was really sad. World War I was really sad for Australians and New Zealanders, and it's why we kind of take time to remember. And even though it is seen as kind of a great tragedy, it's also seen as a big turning point in Australia and New Zealand, I'm sure, as well, for us to be patriotic to our country and to be thankful for what we have as well. So I'll talk about a little bit about the Gallipoli campaign. I wrote a bit about that too. So the Gallipoli campaign began on the 25th of April in 1915, when Allied forces landed on the Gallipoli Peninsula, and this was in modern-day Turkey, so we were fighting the Turkish. The goal was to capture the Dardanelles Strait and open a sea route to support Russia, an ally in the war. However, the operation quickly became a long and difficult ordeal. The Anzacs were dropped at the wrong landing site, which is really silly, to be quite honest, and found themselves at the base of steep, rugged cliffs, under relentless fire from well-prepared Ottoman forces. So these Turkish people, they had like machine guns, right? They were ready. They were on these cliffs with like huge machine guns, and the Anzacs had nothing, basically. They were not ready or prepared. And that's because they took them to a landing site where there were lots of soldiers ready to put them down. Conditions were quite appalling, and the terrain was rocky and exposed, and soldiers lived in trenches carved into dry, unforgiving earth. They had to endure quite extreme heat, really obviously coldness too in the trenches, poor sanitation, limited rations, and constant threats from snipers and artillery. And it's really sad because people say that, like, oh, you know, if you're just in a hole or whatever, it's not going to be that bad in trenches. But actually, I went to an Australian museum, specifically about World War I. I think when I went to Canberra, I went to an Anzac museum, and they put you in like a little exhibit that looks like it's like what a trench, like the average size of what these trenches were like. And it is extremely, extremely claustrophobic in there. Even in like a hole that is just that size and stuff, it's really crazy. And it's dirty and stinky, and you're with like under constant threat. You got to be really still. I don't know. I've been thinking a bit about like what it would be like being a soldier in the war, just in general, especially like in the times, you know, like World War I, and like the amount of like time you're probably laying there still, like terrified that someone's gonna come kill you, or like going and being terrified and you just see one of your friends or someone that you've like kind of had some kind of camaraderie with that's just died. And you, like, it's really sad. It's really, really sad. Yeah. Letters and diaries from soldiers speak of the smell of unburied bodies, the swarms of flies, and the persistent sense of danger. One Australian soldier wrote, "We are living like rabbits in burrows," which is funny that they compared themselves to rabbits in burrows. I just thought that's interesting to put in there. Yeah. It's really sad. I mean, I'm rabba and I would like to be in burrow, but being a soldier in a burrow is like kind of scary. Yeah. The stench was unbearable, and yet we keep going for each other. After 8 months of brutal fighting, the campaign was abandoned and Allied forces were withdrawn in December 1915. More than 8,700 Australians and 2,700 New Zealanders died. Though it was a military failure, the courage, endurance, and mateship shown by the Anzacs helped define the national identity of both Australia and New Zealand. And just as a way to thank New Zealanders, because I know a lot of the time as an Aussie, and as a lot of Aussies do, we kind of make fun of New Zealand because they're like an annoying little brother. Because they're just there, and we get like some New Zealanders coming here in Australia. But I will just say, in the spirit of Anzac Day, I will say some nice things about New Zealanders and about New Zealand real quick, because I thought it would be appropriate. I will just say that New Zealanders, okay, New Zealand's really cool. Like, I love your nature and I love your birds. Obviously, the kiwi bird is like one of the coolest birds ever. Your accents are pretty funny. They always make me giggle. You know, the New Zealanders that I have met, you know, in my life have always been really kind, like genuine people. So, you know, I think that New Zealanders are pretty cool, actually. I guess. I'm a little tsundere for them, but I think... Oh, and the kiwi fruit is really good. I don't know if it's from New Zealand, but the kiwi fruit is very good. It's delicious. So that's another thing. You gotta love some kiwi fruit on your pavlova. And just for today, I'll say, if I had a pavlova in front of me right now, I would give a slice to New Zealand. A singular slice to the entirety of New Zealand. That's how nice I am. Okay, just for today. So now I'm going to talk about something that I made myself, which is kind of just in you know, which I thought would be fun to do, and also in the spirit of Anzac Day, I thought I may as well make it because you don't get many opportunities. Although these biscuits are always in the shops, you always see them around, and you can buy them at any time of the year. People eat them mostly on Anzac Day. So I'll talk a little bit about Anzac biscuits now. So just for any people watching that you know, don't know like what Australians mean when they mean biscuit. In Australia, we basically refer to cookies as biscuits. So it's like an Anzac cookie, if that makes sense. It's a cookie, but we call them biscuits for some reason. I don't know why, but we call cookies biscuits. So think about it like I'm talking about a cookie. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of Anzac biscuits and why they kind of came to be, how the recipe was made, and how they were used. And also a little bit about... how I made them, and then I'll show you kind of photos of the process about that, okay? So I'll tell you a little bit about the Anzac biscuit, a bit of the history, because this is a biscuit with lore, okay, with some lore. So the Anzac biscuit. While the soldiers faced harsh conditions at Gallipoli, their families and communities back home wanted to support them. Especially like the wives of soldiers. The wives of soldiers, like, they were like, what do I do? Like, my husband's gone to war. I don't know if he's gonna come back. I want to do something nice for him. So they wanted to kind of do something nice for the soldiers, like the whole community. Fresh food couldn't survive the long sea journey, and wartime shortages meant ingredients had to be simple and long-lasting. This led to the creation of what we now call the Anzac biscuit. So these biscuits kind of were made with no eggs or milk, and made with like non-perishable ingredients. And it was really easy for people to make and delicious. And easy kind of to pack and store these biscuits. So they're ideal for sending overseas to soldiers. That's why the Anzac biscuit came to be. That was the origin of it. If that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Baked mostly by the wives of soldiers, women's groups, and volunteers, these biscuits were packed in tins and sent off with care parcels. Over time, they became a symbol of connection and comfort. And also I saw lots of letters written by soldiers about Anzac biscuits. They talked about Anzac biscuits a lot. There was a lot of letters and things done while I guess they were around in the war. guess they didn't really have much to do, like besides from just wait and try not to die. So soldiers wrote a lot about Anzac biscuits. One soldier wrote, your tin of biscuits arrived all in one piece and not a crumb was wasted. It tasted like home. Some soldiers, they liked them so much that they even used the biscuits as makeshift currency and kept them as keepsakes from home. Others joked that they were so hard that they could stop a bullet. Some soldiers even, what they did is they would use these biscuits because they were really hard. They're quite hard biscuits, but they're really tasty. The reason why they're so hard is just because the ingredients, like, they're simple ingredients and they don't spoil very easily. So they actually use these ingredients, like the biscuits, to carve as carving devices, to carve basically stone tablets and write notes on them, which is something interesting that they did as well. So yeah, that's something that they did. But yeah, mostly these biscuits were kind of used as, I guess, a way for the wives of soldiers and soldiers to kind of have a taste of home and to still have something sweet and kind of made, kind of homemade for them to eat. And yeah, so these were made a lot itself. So yeah. So a lot of the time, these sweet and tough biscuits, they came to represent not only care from home, but the resilience of the Anzac spirit itself. Today, Anzac biscuits are still baked and shared every year, and they're in stores like all the time. I think Arnott's, which is a brand, Australian brand, kind of have their own Anzac biscuits, and they're just sold in packets. You can buy them at any time. But, you know, I think making them is a really nice way to kind of think about. I guess it's really difficult for the soldiers, and it's good to think about, but also to think about kind of the devastation that the community must have been in, to have, you know, their husbands or their loved ones or, you know, their sons or whoever sent to war, and, you know, wanting to do something nice for them. You know, the love and care that must have been put into these biscuits, because for some of these ladies, like, that made these biscuits, it would have been the last, like, thing that their husband could have necessarily eaten from her, you know, before they passed. So, you know, it's very special to be able to make something like this for them. So yeah, basically, Anzac Day continues to be kind of a day where we make biscuits and we, you know, have commemorative ceremonies and everything. It's really nice. But I'll show you guys now how I actually made these biscuits myself at home. And I think they turned out pretty nice. I had one yesterday, and I have them in a tin now, just like what they did for the soldiers. So let me show you guys how I made the biscuits. I have photos of the process, kind of like my normal baking streams. Okay. Alright, let me show you guys. Okay. So, the first thing that's really important with the Anzac biscuit and gives it a lot of its flavor is the rolled oats. I needed 1 1/3 cup of rolled oats for this recipe. And as you'll notice, so I'm using slightly different tea towel today. Firstly, because the little Twin Stars tea towel, because I only baked the other day the cake for my dad. It's in the wash. And secondly, because I thought the red kind of looked like red poppies, and it would be kind of nice to have those colors. But mostly because my little Twin Stars towel is in the wash. This is my mom's tea towel. So yeah, I had 1 1/3 cup of rolled oats. Was the first thing I needed for this recipe. And then next, I have a cup of flour. Just like normal humble flour. I popped that in there, which is very nice to do, okay? And then, after that, I wanted to show you guys something humble. So, I'm using caster sugar, like Aussie sugar, but I just want to show you the sugar that I got. I think this is a kookaburra or some kind of bird on it. I mean, you have to use Aussie sugar, okay? Support the farmers. I just thought it was cute, so I wanted to take a photo of it. Yeah, I bought a new bag of sugar because I needed some, and I found a really cute one. So yeah, then I just put it in a cup, and then you just only need a quarter cup of sugar because there's other things that are quite sugary, that are in here. Okay, and then, oh my god, this is a part of it that's really humble. The coconut is added sometimes, other times it's not added. I added it to this recipe, but sometimes people didn't add the coconut. It would just depend because the rations, I'd assume, were so small at the during this time that sometimes you could put it in, other times you couldn't. But I put a quarter cup of this is just desiccated coconut, like shredded coconut, as well, which makes it have a really sweet, delicious flavor. And then next, I put it in a bowl. Okay, that's my bowl. Okay, make sure. And I mixed it until it was just nice and all mixed together. Oh, thank you for being a member for 8 months. Thank you. No, this isn't sweetened. It's just normal shredded coconut. It's not sweetened. And then I added my butter. Now, I think it was like 125 grams of butter. You need a lot of butter, okay? Chopped butter. And it was like really difficult because I used a food scale for this, but I feel like my food scale wasn't completely accurate. I don't know, when I didn't have anything on it, it was still showing as like 20 grams, even though there's nothing on it. But yeah, there's a lot of butter, okay? A lot of butter in this biscuit. And then after that, then it's 1 tablespoon of golden syrup. This is one of the most iconic things that you put. Yeah, it had a tear. I did tear it, but it didn't work. It didn't work when I pressed it. It didn't work. But yeah, the most iconic thing that adds to the flavor to these biscuits is the golden syrup that you put in. Now, I had to do something kind of fancy that I'd never done before for these biscuits, which was really exciting. Basically, what I did is I got a saucepan, and I put the butter in the pan, and I put the golden syrup on it, and I mixed it around until it was bubbling. And then what I did is I got bicarb soda, and I put it in some warm water, and then I put the bicarb soda water in the pan, and the pan bubbled. It almost bubbled over. It was quite scary, but it was okay. That's the bicarb soda. So you put 1 teaspoon of bicarb soda in 2 teaspoons of water, of hot water, and then you put it in the pot and it bubbles. And now as it all bubbled, it was kind of scary, but it was alright. I just popped it on top, so it was okay in the end, but it was a bit scary at the time. Then it's frothy. Then I mixed it around until it gets all nice and combined, and then you have these delicious oats, delicious coconut, sugar, buttery mixture. It's really nice, really delicious. It was smelling so good because of the golden syrup. And then all you gotta do is you get a baking tray and a sheet of baking paper, and I put the baking paper down, and then you roll the oaty mixture into balls, and you put it on the tray. I kind of did it a bit messily. I got the tray kind of messy, but it was really, but I think I did it okay. Now, I would recommend that you don't make the cookies as big as I did, because these were pretty big and they took longer to cook than it said that I needed. So I would recommend, if you end up making these for yourself, that you make them smaller than what you can see here. I made them a little bit too big, but they were really humble anyway, and I think I did a good job and everything. And then after I did that, I put them in the oven And I cooked them at, I think it was like 160 degrees Celsius for, I think I ended up doing 30 minutes. Because it said to do it for 15, but I ended up cooking them for about 30 minutes on 160 Celsius. Because it needed a little bit longer to cook all the way through. And then... show the cookie! Why isn't it showing my cookies? What? Hang on. My cookies. My cookies. Wait, hang on. I was so excited to reveal them, and then the reveal was ruined. Wait a minute. Well, now I feel like the fool of the ball. Okay. It's okay. It's okay, Giggles. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. Okay. How embarrassing. Let me just pop through all these pages. Just blast it at 300 Celsius? No, because to make them chewy, it's good to kind of go low and slow. When I looked at recipes. Sorry. Let me just flick through. Yay! And then the cookie were done! And then my cookies were done! Yippee! Yippee! There are my cookies. And then I finish, and there's my cookies. And they're really delicious. Really yummy and good, yeah. Yeah, they just got a ton of color. It's because of the golden syrup. It gives them this really pretty color. Yeah. Really pretty. And it turned out really good. Sometimes I'll be quite honest as pie. I'll be honest as a pie in the sky. These cookies were just a smidge overcooked. I usually like having my cookies a little chewy. So they were really good. Like, they were really delicious. But I would probably, next time I would cook it for a little, like, I would probably just make it smaller cookies so it was easier to track the cooking process. So if you make these yourself, make sure that you don't do that. And then here's another photograph of the cookies from the top. And then here it is from here. I have my rabbit tray. My rabbits are holding them. Yeah. So yeah, those are my cookies. And they tasted really good. And really delicious. Now, I will say, I was planning to eat them on stream, have one on stream. But my little brain is not having a good day today with eating things. So I might not do that. However, I did have 2 yesterday. And I got lots left. And my dad ate some cookies. And my sister ate some cookies. And my mama had some cookies. And they all said it was really good. So take it from them as well. I think it was really good. And something else you could do with these cookies as well, if you wanted to be super fancy, you could dip them in chocolate. Some people dip the cookies, like half the cookie in chocolate too. Yeah. Yeah. Did you know that? Did you know that the Anzacs in the Western Front in World War I stole up to 1/4 of all the German military equipment? Get fucked, you can't. Listen! Okay? Listen! They were just laying around! Let them! Yeah. Let them, please. Yeah, sharing is caring. Typical cheeky Aussies. Let them. Let them. What's your problem in life? What's your problem? Please let them. Okay. Let me just have some coffee, okay? I just need just a little schnaz of it. How do you think they ended up in Australia in the first place? I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean? I mean, the Germans didn't come here. That's what you're saying. They didn't come here. Or whatever. Just popped in. I just popped in or whatever. Yeah. Prison island joke? Oh, true. Well, these fellows weren't convicts, okay? Imagine if we had the convicts fighting. That would be really awesome and like hardcore and extreme and cool if they did that. That would be pretty awesome sauce, I say. Imagine. Or come. That's like how they'd sound. Does that make sense? Okay. Penal Army? Yeah. Pee-pee Army. Let me just have some coffee. Need a little bit more. Ah, crack. Ah, crack. Penal colony. Let me see if there's anything on YouTube we can watch about Anzac stuff. Might be fun. Might be a little bit of fun. Why not? Oh! The Sydney March is on at the moment. I don't know if I can watch that. But that's pretty cool that they've got it on. There's a huge march in Sydney they do. But they have marches everywhere in town. Let me see. Is anyone here? Is anyone here from Turkey? Is any Turkish people here? I'm just wondering. Anyone? Anyone? No, I wasn't saying it like that. I was just wondering. There's nothing about Anzac Day on here. That's so sad. That's such a shame. I would love if there were a video, like an informational video that we could watch about Anzac Day, but that's okay. I remember long ago one other Turk champ. Who? Who? Yeah, me? No, you're not. Really? Are you? Are you really? Are you really? Yeah. Yeah. Anyone here lives in Germany? Any German champies? I bet they taste like home. Yeah, they do. They taste delicious. My dad actually really liked them. He's like, I love Anzac biscuits. These are so good. He was like, I love it. Nom nom nom. He's eaten most of them. My dad's eaten so many of my Anzac biscuits. There's only a few left because he's eaten so many. Because he loves Anzac biscuits. You want to try them? Well, I guess the whole point of them is that they take a long time to spoil, so maybe I could send them out. If doxing wasn't a thing and like people weren't so awful, you know, like just generally in life, something that would be really cool would be like if I wish I could like send you guys my baked goods or something. I wish I could send you guys Anzac biscuits. That would be really cool. I remember Armchair Historian doing an Aussie vs Japan 1942 if you want to learn about battle tactics. That's pretty humble. But I think it might be better to do something with World War One. Yeah. Are you going to post a recipe? I feel like for a recipe like this, it's a bit disrespectful to post a recipe as if it were my own. I'm pretty sure actually the recipe I'm using is like from 1920 something. So, just so you know, it's an old recipe. So, like this recipe is not my own recipe. I didn't like change anything. I just used it exactly how it was directed. Usually I take some creative liberties and try to make it my own, but this time I think it wasn't very good to change it. You know, the fun of it is just kind of doing it as I should, yeah. You should start a baked goods company. Maybe I could call it Giggles Bakes. And and there could be biscuits and cookies. I haven't made Anzac bickies in years, yeah. Yeah. What do you mean bickies? We all call biscuits bickies. My dad called them Anzac bickies yesterday. Yeah, we could have cookies and slice and cake and would you guys buy Giggles Bite? And pie, most importantly, pie. Don't they call mini pies strudels? Because I don't like the word strudel. I would rather call it a baby pie or something. Like, calling it a strudel makes it sound stupid. Like, I want to call it a baby pie. Or a mini pie. Yeah. I'd like a taste of your pie, yes. Yes! Oh my god! Imagine! Okay, here's a fun idea. Imagine, me going around Rabbitville and giving out my cookies like a Girl Scout. You know, in Australia, we have kind of like Girl Scouts that give out Anzac cookies. We actually don't call them Girl Scouts though. We call them Girl Guides. But it's kind of the same thing as Girl Scouts. You get like the patches and things as well, and you do like camps and like cool stuff. Yeah. I was in Girl Guides for a little bit. Like maybe for a few months. But then I didn't do it anymore because I didn't make any friends and I was too shy to speak to anybody, and everyone there seemed like such good friends and it made me feel kind of bad, so I left. But it was cool. I did knitting. I was pretty good at knitting. Like, I like the idea of it. You do like cool like activities and things, or like Boy Scouts. I can't remember what they called Boy Scouts here. I know it wasn't Boy Guides, it was like something else. But yeah, I did Boy Scouts for a little, but yeah, I left for pretty much the same reason. Yeah, I really, cause they were okay. You know, also reason why is because I was gonna go on a. They were like planning to go on a camp, like on a big camp thing, and it made me feel like really. I'm like, what am I even gonna do on in the camp? I don't have any friends. What am I even gonna do? Dang, Boy Scouts mention. I miss my time when I was in the Scout. What'd you guys do? Cause that's like camping stuff, like for boys. I think like I don't know. They don't. I wonder if it's the same these days. But like when I was a kid, like the boys get to go like do the fishing and the camping and learning to make fires and tying knots and shit, and like doing like running and stuff. And the girls like we learnt to sew and like knit and crochet and bake and cook and stuff. Like it was just very different. I was like, I want to go and tie some knots and start fires and stuff. I wish I could do that. Did that all with my dad. Didn't need the Scouts. I guess that's a good thing about the good thing though about Scouts is that it can teach you to have those skills, even if you don't have like a good father figure that will teach you these skills. You know, it's pretty nice, actually, to teach young boys how to be kind of like men without a father figure around. Because it must be really tricky. I think boys these days, like kids, need Boy Scouts more than ever. If any of you guys are parents for whatever reason, or if you guys have like nephews or nieces, put them in like Scouts. Like convince someone to put them in Scouts right now. It's probably good for socializing too. We went float camping on rivers and called ourselves river rats. That's so cool. Tying knots for the win. What? I think I mind the nature more than the other kids. Not very outdoorsy, hate bugs. You're a little baby. That's very sissy. That's a very sissy thing. Not liking bugs. You should like bugs. You should like bugs and dirt. You should as a boy, you should want to roll around in the dirt. Okay? And look at the bugs and start fires and climbing trees and shit. Okay? That's what you should be doing. That's what boys should be doing these days, okay? If you like, I'm sick of these little sissy boys these days that don't know how to get dirty, don't know how to get in the mud and shit. Okay? So stuck up indoors, playing the video games and being super, you know, put them. I mean, video games are cool, don't get me wrong, but like, don't just let them go outside and do nothing. Get them out in the wild, you know. Yeah, all they know to do is scroll TikTok and lie. Exactly. Gotta throw them out into the forest. Okay, here's a fun activity to do with your kid. Okay, take them into the forest, right? And teach them survival skills by saying, off you go, find your way back home. You're in the middle of the forest. You must go north to get back home. Just go north. Figure out where north is, child, and drive away. And then your kid will get home and then they'll learn the survival skills. All the survival skills they need. They'll learn how to hunt for themselves. They'll learn how to fish. They'll learn how to tie knots. They'll learn how to start fires. It'll be easy, okay? Yeah. It's not really. I mean, I'm half joking and I'm half serious. Not about the forest thing, that's stupid. But I mean about, like, you know, kids needing to learn these skills. It's, you know, it's not like you need to. It's not like you need them. We don't need them. We're not like monkeys anymore. But it's like good for you. You know, like, you know how all animals need enrichment? Otherwise they get bored and they get crazy. That's what you need to do. You need to you need to have enrichment as a human animal thing. As an animal. We're animals, we need enrichment too. We need to be able to, like, go outside and do things, you know? It's like my rabbits, you know? They're inside, they're house rabbits. But sometimes I let them play on the grass and dig in the dirt because they need to do that because they're rabbits and they have to do rabbit things. We're like humans, but we're also like monkeys. So we gotta do monkey things sometimes, like climbing trees and shit. I still climb trees every now and again. Yes, I do make my dad carry me down when I climb up trees because I get too scared to climb down. However, I still do climb trees. Okay? And I've done it before. And one time I climbed really, really high. Okay? Really high. And then I sat up there, like in the tree, and I took my hands off and I had no hands. Did you know? Yeah. Yeah, I can! I did! You like a cat? No! Yeah, I sat up in the tree and I have no hands. I didn't even need hands. I love sunlight. I like walking in nature. I like looking at trees. I used to climb trees as a kid. I just keep looking all the time to try and avoid the bugs. But why? Bugs are cute and they got little cute faces. You have hands? Yes! No, I have hands, but like, no, I have hands as in I didn't hold on to the tree. I didn't hold on to the tree when I was in the tree. I took my hands off. You know when you're balancing and you go look and you put your hands up and you go look, no hands. That's what I mean. It doesn't mean literally that I have no hands. It's just a trick. So stop. Okay. Yeah, look, no paws. Yeah. I remember my dad took us out to a lake once to swim, and you could feel all the swimming minnows and stuff swimming around you. Ew, dinky. That's what it's like going into Loach Lake. You feel all the loaches around. Actually, you know what? I went kayaking with my dad, and when I was in the kayak and I was looking like on the outside, I saw jellyfish going past me and fishies and fishies and birds and stuff. It was really cool. Yeah. Sometimes, if you stay still enough, they'll nibble the dead skin off you. Ew! 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 Yeah, if you go into the Loach Lagoon, the loaches are going to skin you alive and eat all your skin off. Not just your dead skin, all of your skin. I was grossed out by jellyfish, so my dad threw them at me. Ha ha ha! I like touching jellyfish. I've touched jellyfish tons of time. I used to go on the beach where the jellyfish had washed up, and I used to pick them up and throw them back into the ocean. And I also kissed a jellyfish before, like multiple times. I've done that. Why, you ask? Because I wanted to give him a kiss. Because I wanted to help him. You know, I did it once when I was a kid. I used to do it as a kid. No, but there was a reason, okay? And the reason is because when I was little and I hurt myself, my mum would always kiss... Like, say if I fell on my knee or whatever, my mum would always kiss my knee and say, "Oh, better, oh, better," to help me feel better. And the jellyfish are washed up on the shore, so I assumed that they were hurt. That's why they'd been washed up. So I wanted to make them feel all better and then put them back in the ocean. That's why I gave them a kiss. So before you laugh at me and call me Miss Jellyfish Kisser, not true. It's not true. They're like clear water balloons. Yeah, humble water balloons. I like them. Jelly kiss. Ew! No, no, they're not jelly. Not jelly. Not like jelly. You know what, actually, when I was a kid... no, I didn't sting. My lips never got stung or anything, because the thing that stings you is the tentacles, like the sting is on the tentacles, not like the body of the jellyfish. And not all jellyfish sting either, so I never got stung. I've never been stung by a jellyfish before. My mom has, ha ha ha. She has, but not me. This girl in the hat kisses jellyfish all the time. Stop! Stop! It's not all the time! Stop! It was only a couple times. Only a few times. So sorry. Only a few times a week? What? Please don't be terrible, okay? It's not my fault I've kissed a jellyfish once or twice, I mean... But you know one thing that I wanted to eat more than anything? There's one thing that I've always wanted to eat more than anything in the whole wide world. Okay? And I've never eaten it. But I really wanna. Okay? But I don't think I'll ever be able to eat it in my life. And it's really sad. Clouds. Clouds. I'm not kidding. My entire life, I wanted to eat clouds. I had a huge fantasy as a child about eating clouds. Why, you ask? Because they look so delicious. They look so delicious and fluffy. Like mashed potato or like fluffiness. And one day, you know what my dad told me? He's like, well, Kiki, one day when you're older and you go in a plane somewhere, you'll be able to go out of the window and eat the clouds. And I was like, oh my god, okay, that's great. Hell yeah. And then, like a year later, we went, I can't remember where we went. It was like to another Aussie state. I can't remember where it was. I think we were going to Gold Coast. I think we were going to the Gold Coast. And we got on the plane. I was really excited. It was my first like plane trip on the plane. And I went to go open the window of the plane. I opened the blind thing up because I always wanted the window seat. I'm like, can I have the window seat? Can I have the window seat? And my dad's always like, yeah, of course you can have the window seat. Thinking I just want you to look out the window. But I was thinking I was getting a full course meal. And I opened the the blinds of the plane thing. And then I'm like, oh, where's the latch thing to open the window? And my dad's like, what? Why? Why do you want to open the window? I'm like, Dad, duh. I want to eat the clouds. Duh. Like, I want to just get... I don't know. I was really little. And my dad's like, Kiki, listen. There's something I need to tell you. Unfortunately, you can't open the windows on the plane. I'm like, what? My dad has fooled me time and time again. Lied to me. I have trust issues. My dad lied again. And he's like, if you're not going to be able to eat the clouds, I'm sorry. And I was like, please, like, let me just like open it. I'm like, can anything? I was like so upset. I'm like, can they open the door? I was like, can they open? Because I didn't get that it was genuinely because like you could not eat the clouds. Because like I thought it was because I couldn't open the window. I'm like, all right, okay, that makes sense, right? Safety. So I still didn't get that you could not eat the clouds, like, physically. So I was like, well, could they open the door? Because the door was open on the way, and he's like, no. And then he told me on the way about it. That was really sad. Just open the plane door like Looney Tune. Well, that's the thing. This is why Looney Tune's sometimes bad, because, like, I genuinely, like, believe that all this cartoon stuff's weird, like, real. Like, yeah, of course. Like, just like in Mario, you can jump on the clouds. You can jump on the clouds in Mario. Like, I'm sure you could eat them. You know? I've eaten everything else. Like, I've eaten dirt. I've eaten grass. I've eaten sand. Like, you know, just giving it a try. Just a little taste. I did like... One thing I ate in school that I would just go and eat like I was a fucking... giraffe or some shit, like a fucking weirdo, because I had a hankering for it. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I would eat eucalyptus leaves. There was a eucalyptus tree at my school, and I would eat the leaves off of the eucalyptus tree for no reason. Like, what's wrong with me? Why did I do that? Like, looking back, I'm like, what's wrong? Like, I just thought, I was like, well, I'm not hungry enough to, like, eat my lunch, but, like, I want a little snack. Like, I want a little snack. And they have some flavor to them, some tasty flavor. Aren't those poisonous? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't die, though, so I'm not sure. No, I don't think they're good for humans at all. But I ate them just fine. I ate it, like, every day for weeks. And kids would look at me and be like, what the fuck is she doing? And then one day a teacher caught me doing it. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, nothing. I'm just nothing. But I was obviously, I just put a leaf in my mouth. And she's like, Kiki, you shouldn't eat those. Those aren't good for you. Like, those are going to make you sick. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. It didn't make sense. Yeah. I think we can't digest them. I don't know. I don't know. But I ate them anyway. I remember my dad spotting me eating berries that weren't edible, and he told me they were poisonous. Scared me all day. Yeah, I mean, that's true. It can be scary sometimes. Yeah. Did they at least taste good, Koala Child? They were delicious. Listen, they were so good. I don't know why. I had, like, eucalyptus oil when I was a kid, like, and then put it in like an oil diffuser thing and had the smell, like, around my house. Oh, it made me so hungry. It made me so hungry. I was like, ooh, if only I could just eat some. But now I can only smell it. So I would sit next to the diffuser and smell it and imagine I'd be eating the eucalyptus. It does taste like it smells. It's really weird. I don't know. I went to a lavender farm before, and I've eaten lavender flavored ice cream. You can do this. You can eat it. And it actually tastes like it smells. And it's the same for eucalyptus. It's really weird. Yeah, no, they weren't minty. They had it was like a minty, like, it's like strong. Like it would be a strong minty flavor, but it's completely different. It's not minty. It's just like how it smells. Oh, rose jam is good. I like rose jam. Yeah, it is. No, it just tastes exactly like it smells. It's really weird. It's like strong flavor. A lot of taste comes from smell, so that makes sense. Nom, nom, nom. Yeah, that's true. You know what I hate? I don't know if this is just me being autistic or what, but I hate it when I go out to dinner or I'm having dinner, and my sister wears her, like, strong perfume. She really likes wearing the super strong, like, Dior perfume, and it's like, I don't know. It feels like it ruins the meal for me. Like, because I'm so focused on smelling the perfume that I don't like, that I can't even, like, focus on eating. Does that make sense? I don't know. Yeah, I don't like it. The only this is why the only perfume scent I have is my vanilla and strawberry body spray. It's not even like a perfume, it's a spray, because it's a light scent and it just smells like it's just like, I don't know, just nice. Okay, just really nice. Okay. Yeah. 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 Same can be said about cologne. No, I love the smell of cologne. My dad wears this cologne, like a fancy one. And you can tell when we're going somewhere fancy because my mom... Sorry, not my mom. My dad puts this cologne on and it smells like fanciness. Fanciness. I don't know if this will, like, make people jealous of me saying this. But, like... And this is just a smell thing. The closest, like... It almost feels like smelling cologne. If I can close my eyes and smell cologne, it almost makes me imagine that I'm hugging a man. I don't know. Like, I would love to just give, like... I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is stupid, but, like... I'm so, like... touch-starved that, like... just the smell, like, makes me imagine... Ooh, like, maybe I'm hugging a man. Ooh. You know? Is that stupid? I don't know. Okay, one time I was on the train and I was going home and I was sitting down and there was like I think there was like a group of there was a group of guys and I wasn't like attracted to them at all. Like, I don't know, it wasn't even about the way they looked or anything. I didn't even think about it. But they all came and they were standing like in front of me. You know, I was like sitting down, they were standing in front of me and they were like, you know how you can like stand and you can put your arm and like stand on the train? There's like a group and like I was like closing my eyes and I was like man smell. It's pretty good. It smelled so much like man. I don't know, is that I'm sorry, that's probably way too TMI. I'm so sorry. It just smelled like so much like man. I don't know. Like, I probably need to get a ton of different colognes and like put it on a pillow or something and smell it. So it smells like super like man. I don't know, is that stupid? Sorry. No, I don't know. I'm sorry. For me, woman's perfume makes me dislike women and have misogynist thoughts. I don't know. Like, it doesn't make me not like men or something. It just makes me like... I don't know. Do you wear cologne yourself? No. I wear like body spray, but I don't wear like cologne or anything. Actually, I don't know if this is weird, but like when I was in school, one of my teachers, he would wear like this super like strong cologne, and he's like a really nice teacher, and he would wear this like super strong cologne, and every time like that he'd walk into the classroom and be like, that smells good, that smells so good. That's a good cologne. Like, not even like weird. I was just like, that's some good cologne. That smells great. I don't know. I feel like cologne is like specifically made for me. Personally. You know how like women like and men like they it's like a pheromone thing. Like sometimes you can be like attracted through someone's scent. I feel like all colognes just smell so good for me. I don't know why. It all smells so good. Like, I love the smell of cologne. I've gone into the airport before and they have like those perfume shops, like before you go, and I put some cologne like on one of those stick things, you know, where you can smell and see how it smells, and then they go, ah, it smells like a man, yeah. And then I just quietly just am like, yeah, that's not for me, yeah. I don't know, maybe it feels like cologne has like pheromones in it or something. What kind of cologne do you like? Like, no, not anything like fruity. It's like musky cologne. Like, I don't know. It just smells like a man smell. I don't know how to explain it. I couldn't tell you because I don't look at the brand. I don't know. It's just like a man smell. Even like deodorant. Like one time I accidentally bought a man deodorant. It's like one of those Revlon, I think. I can't remember what it was called. It was like in a blue can, and I accidentally bought one of the man like deodorants, and I was at the shops, and when I spread it, I'm like, oh, this is not one that I would wear personally, but it smells so good like a man. And maybe it's the deodorant. I don't know what it is. Do you know what scents are nice? Sandalwood? I don't know what it is. Maybe, wait, let me look this up. Maybe I can find it. But like, if you ever, like, I don't know. So the voicemail memes are real. For me, yeah. It's just something so comforting about like going somewhere and smelling cologne. I don't know why. Or maybe it wasn't Revlon. I don't know. Let me just look at man deodorant. I could probably find... Oh, Lynx! Lynx! Lynx Africa? Let me see. Lynx deodorant. No, it's not Lynx Africa. This is so important. Yeah, it's Lynx. No, it's Axe. It's Axe. Is it Axe? Is it Axe? No, it's not Axe. No, it's Rexona. Here we go. I found it. Rexona. I think it's just some Cobalt Dry. I think. I think it's Rexona. Nom, nom, nom. No, I'm wrong. Nope, I'm wrong. This is definitely it. I found it. No, I found it. This specific one. Okay, you're probably thinking, Kiki, how did you not realize that this was a man one? Because it's got man on the name. I just didn't... I was just like... I think I was just out of it when I was buying deodorant. I don't know. I never need to buy deodorant. Nivea Man. Fresh Active. 48 hours. This specific thing, I bought it by accident. Oh. Why do they always make the picture so big on here? No, it didn't make me smell good because I only did one spray and then I gave it to my dad because like I didn't want it. But Because I'm like, I don't want to smell like a man. However, to be fair, if I did have this deodorant, I would probably smell myself all day. That's probably all I would do. It would be very dangerous. This one. Is this too? I don't know why I'm talking about deodorant. It smells really good though. It smells super good. I'm not sure about the cologne because I've never actually like really paid attention to what the cologne's called, but it's like, I don't know. I'd have to like, you know what I should do? I should go to like one of those perfume stores and I should look at the cologne and smell them and see which one would be the best. I have some cologne somewhere I got as a gift from my brother, though I don't usually wear it. You should wear it every day! Guys, come on! Wait, actually don't, because women are gonna like you more, and I don't want that to happen. So maybe never wear it. Never wear it. Unless you see Kiki Pyon out and about for whatever reason, spraz some on, okay? And then I'll waft towards it. You know like in a cartoon when like there's like a nice smelling pie and the cartoon character like the legs come up and they like waft towards it, like they drift towards the pie. That will literally be me. You should smell effervescent oil. Reminds me of grandmas and witchcraft in my country. Oh, really? Yeah, there's some certain smells that remind you of certain things. There's a specific perfume that smells like my mum, because she's worn the same perfume for like so long, like my whole life. Yeah, like Pepe Le Pew. I'll be like Pepe Le Pew. Anyway, I'm sorry, this is a really weird conversation to delve into. But yeah, I mean, no, like always be humble. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you know what? If you guys all got the same deodorant, I could get it and I could spray it on my champy body pillow. And then it could be like super immersive. You're a cologne person? I'm a cologne person, even though I don't wear it. I like cologne. I just like the smell anyway. It smells good. I don't know. There's something nice about it. One time... Okay, this is the last weird thing I'll say. One time... One time... When I was in school, I accidentally, and and we had to do PE. I like accidentally went into one of the like the boys like shower room thing where they like change. Luckily no one was in there, but like it smelled so good in there. I was like and then I left. Sorry, okay, that's it. Sorry, I'm a bit weird. I wasn't on purpose. I was still pretty new and didn't know where I was going. That's happened to me so many times. I've accidentally gone to the boys thing instead of the girls, like so many times. Because I'm stupid and I don't read the signs. Every person I've met wearing cologne have been rather slimy and shifty. No, I don't like that, I don't like that, that people see it that way. Because I think it just smells so nice. I don't know, it's like fancy. It's like fancy. Like, I don't want you to be shifty. It happened to me exactly one time in middle school, and I was so scared I was going to be treated like a sex offender and ran off ASAP. That's so funny. Well, actually, it's not funny. It's kind of sad because I didn't even think about that. Although, I'm sure for boys, that's the first thing they think of. You know? When stuff like that happens. It's sad. Sad. Yeah. Yeah. Let's all get Arsenal red cologne. What is that? Arsenal. Why is it called Arsenal? Why does it look like a grenade? I don't know if they'd let that into Australia. They'd probably be like super silly about it and be like, oh, we can't let this cologne in. It's too dangerous. It's a risk. To appeal to men? True, true. But yeah, you know how they say in the Minecraft movie? Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm actually getting somewhere here, okay? Okay, I'm sorry, this is a weird way to start like a sentence, but just let me, okay? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Okay, you know how they say in the Minecraft movie, what's it called? That like every man needs their own signature scent and that's important. It's so true. Okay, Champy needs a signature scent. We need to get Champy a signature scent. Yeah. Hey Kiki, in year 8 I had a history project for Australian history and I chose the Gallipoli campaign. Oh! It was quite well researched, I must say. It was a great overview of the battle and not too long to read. I'll have a look at it in a minute, actually. If you don't mind. Do you mind if I read it on stream? Yeah. Nom nom nom. Idea, Champy smell like dirt and unwashed veggies. No! You don't. You don't. You never did. Okay? Yeah. I can make you your own cologne. Called Poo Poo Cover Up. And it's supposed to cover up the you smell because you smell like poo. That's that's what it's for. It makes you smell normal because you usually smell like poo. It makes you like you have to spray it before you spray on any cologne because it gives you a good baseline. Thank you for following. Thank you very much. Yahweh, Yahweh. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm gonna do that. Guys, should I start doing that like when anyone follows or subscribes to me? Yahweh. Okay, you should anytime. Okay, if you subscribe, guys, I will do that. Okay, yeah. Some people can smell like cologne plus poo. That's not true. That's not true. I showered last week. Yeah, I bet you did a year ago. Yeah, bet you did a year ago. The toilette natural spray. Aramis. My dad uses Aramis. That's humble. That's humble. You should tell your dad to purchase Arsenal by Gilles Chantel. Okay, you should get your dad to get that instead. I don't know what Papa Pyon uses. Papa Pyon's cologne smells nice. Maybe I'll have to. I don't know. I feel like it'll be weird if I asked him. Nom nom nom. But he's been wearing the same one forever. My dad gets fancy. You know my dad's getting fancy if he puts on like a nice t-shirt and nice pants and his nice shoes, okay? And he has his cologne on. You know it's gonna be humble. Humble night. Okay. There's a rabbit themed cologne. I think you would personally wear it. Ooh. Yeah. Yes, please. I want to see helicopter ears always. Oh, thank you, but it's not a helicopter. Oh, you subscribed? Yeah, please. Yahweh. Thank you. Yahweh. Hurrah. Yeah, please. you play, you play. Yay, you play. Yay. Yay. Yeah. Alright, let's read. Let's do some history. Enough about smells, okay? I guess it kind of does count to talk about it because it did smell really bad, apparently, in the trenches. So, you know. Let's read about this Gallipoli thing. If you don't mind, Champy. I assume considering you... They sounded it should be okay for me to read it. Thank you for the $15. Cologne idea. Splash of Kiki's piss. What? No. 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 Yucky. 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 No, no, no. No, 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 no. No, no, no. No. No, 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 no. Okay. No, no, no. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Alright. Let's read this, shall we? I should probably change the music just to be respectful. Hang on a seckie, per. Hang on. Okay. One seckie, per. Okay. Let's have a little looky, per. What? Yes, of course I'm Aussie. Wrong thing. Happy Anzac Day. Thank you. Alright, thank you, Champy, that provided this for me for today. Okay, World War I was a turn of a century. There was no war this horrific or this massive before it. When the conflict started, war was changed forever. Before the Great War, nations and people had a sense of chivalry to war. It was a sport and adventure. War was glorious, and the men that fought in it came back heroes. And the crowd watching were patriotic, and the children watching wanted to be soldiers, just like the brave men in front of them. However, all of that changed after the Great War. War was not a sport, it was a massacre. War was not an adventure, it was a nightmare. The image of war in all its glory was now dead, along with all the children that grew up wanting to be brave heroes. That's so sad. Let's go to the next one. Many historians argue what started the Great War. Some say it is because of the royal families of the main powers were connected and the bloodlines. Some say it started because of old squabble that never died. But all historians agree that the event that sparked the war was the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand of the Austria-Hungary Empire by a Serbian terrorist. The Austrian-Hungary Empire and Serbia were at odds for many years. A war between them was inevitable, but no one thought their conflict would bring the whole world to war. Archduke Ferdinand was the Prince of Hungary and thought peace between them was possible, and tried with all his power to see his vision through. But his life was cut short, and in an ironic way, he started the war. He was shot by a Serbian assassin from the terrorist organization the Black Hand, a patriotic group of young angry Serbians that wanted death to the Austria-Hungary Empire. After the death of Archduke Ferdinand, Austria-Hungary Empire was quick to attack Serbia, blaming them for the assassination of the prince. However, the conflict raised when Russia swore to protect its Slavic brothers from the European invasion. Russia was Serbia's protector, and letting European powers roll over them would make Russia look even less powerful than it already was. After they lost the Russo-Japanese War, it was a matter of pride. Russia had to show it was still strong, and letting Serbia fall would be an embarrassment to the Russian Empire. Quickly after Russia joined the war, Germany followed because Germany had a military alliance with the Austria-Hungary Empire and was forced to protect Austria-Hungary if any war broke out. The irony of Germany's involvement was that the alliance was meant to stop war from making other nations scared to start stop war by making other nations scared of starting world wars, a sort of early version of MAD. France flocked to its Russian allies and joined the war soon after Germany, and now it was too late to stop. The web of alliances was triggered and no one could stop the coming massacre. That's so sad. And yeah, everyone's so allied, so everyone just goes one after another, you know, for this kind of thing. It's really sad. Okay. The Commonwealth. After Britain joined the war on the side of the Triple Entente, they called upon their colonies and Commonwealth allies to support them to the war effort. Britain joined the war because Belgium, an ally of Britain, was invaded by Germany, and Britain came to protect its ally in the fight against Germany. Germany attacked Belgium because it was in the way of France, and Germany had to destroy France as quick as possible to end the war and to stop Germany from being attacked from two fronts. Britain had multiple colonies under the Commonwealth name: South African colonies, Asian colonies in China and India, the overseas colonies like Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. Normally, Britain fought its own battles, but this time it was different. It was a world war like no one had seen before. For the British Army, the Great War spread them thin and they desperately needed reinforcements. They were unprepared to fight a war on multiple fronts for 5 grueling years with countless casualties, so they sent the soldiers of the Commonwealth into the meat grinder. The majority of Commonwealth soldiers were very happy to serve Britain in war. In a way, it was serving a debt. Most were very patriotic in their ways and thought it could be an adventure that they would return home the hero that fought for Britain. And that's true. I mean, war was still very, like, a very glorified thing. And everyone were buddies, so they all had to help each other out. So let's read this next one. Why the Ottomans joined the war. In the Great War, the Ottoman Empire to most people seems out of place. They weren't a European power, they had no connection to the other nations, and they had no interest in the war. So why did they join? Well, the answer is obvious if you look hard enough. The Ottoman Empire had been collapsing for some time before the war even broke out. Over the years, they were slowly losing land and vassals their empire had held for countless years. The great empire was falling in front of their eyes, not because of invaders or wars, but because their people and empire was divided. Much like the Romans, their empire grew too big too fast and they couldn't hold it. The only way to unite the empire was with a common enemy, a conflict that would bring an empire together to defend their homeland and create opportunity to remove any opponents against the empire. However, why did the Ottoman Empire choose Germany for its ally? Well, the Ottomans had been against the Russians and Slavic nations for some time. Since their empires' borders were clashing and a minority of them lived in the Ottoman Empire, and Russia was the binding country that brought the Triple Entente together in the Commonwealth, entendre. The Triple Entendre together in the common goal. Therefore, the Ottomans joining the Germans made sense. They already sympathized with the Germans in the war and had multiple German generals in the Ottoman army, and German dreadnoughts before they joined the war. The alliance was inevitable. So now we'll read about the Gallipoli campaign. Now when someone says Gallipoli, it is synonymous with death and command failure, but it wasn't always that. When the campaign was first planned, it seemed foolproof and straightforward. British warships would travel up the Dardanelles and surround Constantinople, the Ottomans' capital, forcing the surrender of the Ottoman Empire and taking them out of the war. The Ottoman Empire and the Dardanelles specifically were the key to stopping the dreadlock at the Eastern Front. The Ottoman Empire supplied Germany and the Austria-Hungary Empire greatly, and the Ottomans hold on the Dardanelles that stopped any travel into the Black Sea, stopping the support that Russia needed so greatly in the war. Many Russian ships were trapped in the Black Sea, waiting to supply the Western Front with grain and ammunition that France and Britain needed desperately to continue the fight. And taking the Dardanelles would also open up new front behind the Austria-Hungary lines, allowing for a counterattack, and would end the pointless massacre in the mountains of the Eastern Front. It would also force Italy and the Baltic states to join the Triple Entendre for fear of invasion, further strengthening the Western Front, and it would free the Suez Canal, opening up the massive trade route given to the Triple Entendre and an unbelievable advantage over the Central Powers. It was indeed an attractive project. You would have to be a fool not to take such an opportunity to end the war as dark as this one. Well, I wonder how that went for them. Let's have a look. It's scary, isn't it? The British Royal Navy. Let me make this a little bigger so I can read a bit better. As the campaign started, the Royal Navy was sent alongside the France Navy. The Gallipoli campaign was originally a Navy expedition. The plan was to send a large number of ships up the Dardanelles and to surprise and surround the Ottomans' capital, freeing the Black Sea and taking the Ottoman Empire out of the war. However, that is not how the expedition went. On the 18th of February 1915, the campaign started, and so did the bombardment on the Ottomans' forts. France and British ships shelled the machine gun placements and forts guarding the Dardanelles. Even though the campaign was slowed down by weather, it was going well, and according to plan. Marines went ashore and destroyed any remaining Ottoman emplacements. Let me just make it a little bigger for me because it's a little tricky for me to see everything. A bit tricky to read. Okay, this is much better. Okay. Let me read this second paragraph again. On the 18th of February 1915, the campaign started, and so did the bombardment of the Ottoman fronts. France and British ships shelled the machine gun placements and forts guarding the Dardanelles. Even though the campaign was slowed down by the weather, it was going well and according to plan. Marines went ashore and destroyed any remaining Ottoman emplacements. So far, campaign was going better than originally expected. The fleet met little opposition and the Ottomans didn't destroy the ship. However, on the 18th of March 1915, 3 British ships sunk. The supposedly destroyed forts came back to life and new machine gun placements arose. The bombardment failed and the fleet was trapped in a sea of mines placed by the Ottomans. They definitely knew the British were coming, and the 3 ships were destroyed by mines, and every time the British sent out trawlers to clear the minefield, they were shot by Ottoman machine guns. And every minefield they cleared, another one appeared in front of the fleet. Doubts about the Navy's success grew. A land operation was being planned to destroy the forts and machine gun placements to let the fleet through the Dardanelles. Lord Fisher, First Sea Lord, would say the Dardanelles futile without soldiers. Someone will have to land at Gallipoli sometime or another. Then a problem arose. Who would attack Gallipoli? There were no soldiers to spare. Both Britain and France were stuck in the Western Front, so British commands decided the Anzacs and Commonwealth soldiers would pick up this challenge to take Gallipoli. The 29th and a French division were also added to strengthen the land campaign, bringing the total numbers of soldiers to 70,000. Sir Ian Hamilton, the general leading the land campaign, only had 2 weeks to prepare for the attack on the beaches of Gallipoli. And on top of that, this would be the first modern beach invasion in history. The plan was to have the fleet bombard the beach defenses, opening it up for the ground soldiers. However, the fleet was stopped by mines again and had to cut the bombard short. But the beach attack would still happen on time, without any Navy support. This would be one of the first of many mistakes in the Gallipoli campaign. Yeah, that's sad. Alright, let's keep reading. So, let's read about the beaches of Gallipoli. As this is the first time some of you are learning about this? Yeah, they're getting no support. Sir Ian Hamilton decided to land the British troops on 5 different beaches on Cape Helles at the end of the Gallipoli Peninsula, while 3,000 Anzacs would land further up the peninsula on a beach that would later be known as Anzac Cove. At 4 a.m. April the 21st, the boats carrying the troops sailed off the beachheads. 2 diversions took place to keep the Ottomans guessing where the boats would land. The British tricked the Ottomans into thinking they would land on Bulair, but not a single soldier or ship was sent there. The Ottomans waited all day for an attack that never came. Also, another diversion happened at the Commonwealth. And the France quickly attacked, taking 500 prisoners, then retreated off to the beach, tricking the Ottomans again into thinking they were landing in a place they were not. Both diversions were a complete success. The Ottoman's army was spread thin, defending beaches that no Anzacs or British soldiers were landing on. Opposite to the France diversion, the forces at S beaches successfully landed with low casualties. X beach was the same. And the attack at Y beach, I guess there's we're referencing the photo. And the attack at Y beach completely succeeded, landing 2,000 soldiers with 0 casualties. The diversion worked. The Ottomans didn't know where the soldiers were going to land, and they spread their army thin, but the men didn't push inward. However, W and V beach was a different story. The Ottomans were ready for an attack at those beachheads, and the Navy didn't destroy the machine gun nests or bunkers there. It would embody what people now think of in the Gallipoli campaign. Alright. Now let's look at the Lancashire landing. Okay, just double checking I got that right. Okay, Lancashire Landing. At W Beach, later known as Lancashire Landing, a massacre would happen. Out of the boats, countless men charged the beachhead, and countless men were cut to pieces running up the beach through machine gun fire. There was no cover on the beach, just flat sand. The hundreds of soldiers were fish in a barrel for the Ottomans' machine gunners. The sea was full of heavy barbed wire, so sharp that men's stomachs were ripped open as they jumped off the boats. The coast of W Beach was literally red with blood. Men cut in two floating in the water. Hundreds of soldiers trapped in the beaches of barbed wire. Even though death seemed certain, the Lancashire forces broke through the Ottoman guns, a show of how bravery can overcome command incompetence. I don't know why they wanted them to do this. It's so stupid. I guess I didn't realize, but it's just sad. And it gets even sadder from what I can remember. This is about V Beach. The madness was repeated at V Beach. 3,000 soldiers were carried to the beach on a large boat called the River Clyde. The ships at sea bombarded the Ottomans as usual and failed to destroy them as usual, but command still sent the men in, knowing the slaughter that would happen. So they didn't knowing what would happen now. The River Clyde landed at V Beach and was immediately under machine gun fire. The Ottoman gunners weren't dead from the bombardment and lit the River Clyde on fire, forcing the 300 men to exit out of the two doors in single file into a machine gun fire. No one in the River Clyde survived. The soldiers on supporting boats were the last one left alive and had to run up the flat beach, while under fire. The only safety was a 3-foot rise in the beach, which 200 men hid behind. The soldiers at V Beach, only 200 men strong, slowly day by day pushed up and toked the landing, a sandbank in the ground, just high enough to cover your head laying down. It saved 200 men and won them the beach. And then this is Anzac Cove. So this is specifically about what kind of Anzac Day is about. Yeah, I mean, obviously they didn't know, but yeah. So this is about Anzac Cove, kind of what I was talking about today. The Anzac troops landed on the Z Beach that would be later known as Anzac Cove. The landing was fast with little resistance. Only a few Ottoman snipers guarded the beach, and they were quickly drove off the beach landing. Many officers were surprised at how easy it was to take the beach. It was almost completely unprotected. The Ottomans, in fact, didn't defend this beach because they thought that the cliff side at the beach was so steep that no army would be stupid enough to attempt attacking it. It was hard to both advance and set up a base because the landing was more a cliffside than a beach, and there was little room for ships. As the Anzacs moved up the steep cliffs and hills, they saw what would be known as the Razor's Edge and realized why the Ottomans never bothered to defend this beach. The old British maps were faulty and didn't tell the terrain very well. The maps show that after the steep cliff, it would lead into flat open land, but the maps were drastically wrong and failed to show that there was a massive mountain ridge between Z Beach and the flat land. The Anzac army was stuck dead in its tracks, and this would be the second mistake of the campaign. The 16,000 Anzac troops that landed behind enemy lands undetected with low casualties would be trapped behind this razor's edge, forced to travel all around the ridge, wasting precious time. And this is the next thing called the neck. By the time Anzac soldiers got around the ridge of the Ottoman gunner, they were already set up in trenches and stopped the Anzac advance. The Ottoman gunner were already set up in trenches and stopped the Anzac advance dead in its tracks. And far over at V and W, soldiers were stopped as well. The massacre at the beaches drastically slowed down the attack, just like Anzac Cove, and British forces were too slow to advance and were stopped by Ottoman trenches. The trench war on the Western Front was mirrored at Gallipoli. As Ottomans set up trenches, so did the British and Anzac soldiers. The Anzacs and British forces were trapped at the beaches and couldn't advance forward. Ottoman artillery kept them there. The Ottomans had artillery placed at the Achi Baba, a small fort that overlooked all of the beaches and the Dardanelles. It was also the objective and the land campaign, but it was supposed to be taken in the first day of the landing. The overlooking fort could send shells to all of the beaches and let no soldier be safe. So Anzac and British soldiers dug into the cliffside on the beaches, creating small homes. Ammunition stocks and food storage. At the Anzac trenches, the soldiers were trying to break the stalemate by digging under the Ottoman trenches from their trenches and placing explosives. It worked for multiple enemy trenches, but it was far too slow and costly to do. By the time the trenches were undermined, more Ottoman trenches were built. The fighting seemed hopeless, too hopeless to succeed. The terrain caused the trench lines on both sides to become a maze. Anzac trench could be behind an Ottoman trench and vice versa. Defenses on both sides were so strong that no attacks could succeed. It didn't matter that Anzac soldier machine gunned hundreds upon hundreds of the Ottoman soldiers. They kept on coming, and no attack could overcome the trench defenses. One final push was planned on the 7th of August 1915 to break through the Ottoman trench lines. This push would be at the neck, a place where Anzac and Ottoman trenches are only 27 meters away from each other. British Navy bombardment would destroy the enemy trench defenses and allow Anzac troops to advance. The attack was scheduled to commence at 4:30 a.m., but instead the attack would commence at an hour later at 5:30 a.m. This would be the third mistake of the Gallipoli campaign. As planned, the bombardment took place, freeing the Anzac soldiers to attack. However, because of the time difference between Britain and the Anzacs, the attack started 1 hour after the shelling, leaving the Ottomans enough time to reset their trench and defenses and machine guns. Anzac soldiers went over the top and were shot down before they could even reach no man's land. Even though the attack obviously failed, the officers kept on sending wave after wave of the Anzac men to die. Which this is the saddest part. This is the saddest part of it. And the most disgusting part of it is that even though not to be rude, but they kept sending them in. These soldiers were seeing waves and waves and waves of their friends and comrades die right in front of them, knowing that they were gonna be machine gunned down. But the officers, obviously they had commanding officers, you know, telling them what to do. And they had to keep sending them these, like, all these, like, floods and floods and floods of men to die. It's really sad. Like, they knew they were, like, set up with machine guns. They couldn't do anything. It's really sad. Yeah, so I think that's the saddest part. Just imagining being lined up like that, knowing you're going to attack, but knowing that you're just going to be sacrificed in such a way as a distraction. It's really sad. 372 Anzac men died on that day, massacred by the British. Massacred by the British officers they trusted. The British are very lucky we still like him after this, to be quite honest. Because that's fucked. Okay, like, the British are like, come on, keep going out, Aussies. What are you doing? Keep going out. And the Aussies like, dude, like, what are you doing? And they just had to keep coming. It's really sad. It's, like, really, really sad. There's lots of movies about the specific moment where they show these moments. Lots of reenactments. It's very sad. So let's have a look at something else. Friendship on the battlefield. Now, after this, remind me, there's something else I want to bring out about friendship on the battlefield as well. That's a story that I think would be a nice thing to finish off to make things a little happy. Okay. Friendship on the battlefield. The campaign had been going on for months and was now in summer. Scorching heat, dehydration, and flies plagued the battlefield. The summer heat brought the flies to Gallipoli and disease with it. The hundreds upon hundreds of British Anzac and Ottomans' bodies baked in the sun, decomposing into the soil. The flies so followed, festering on the corpses of brave men and spreading dysentery on both Ottoman and Anzac trenches. By this time, 1,000 men a week were infected with dysentery. I think that's a disease. The majority of the injured were not from the bullets or shells, but simple flies that swarmed the food and water. It was not any better at the Ottoman trench lines. They too had the same problems: dehydration, heat, and flies. A truce was met between the Anzacs and Ottomans. They would both stop firing at each other every now and then to bury the dead in fertile land away from the trenches, not only to stop the spread of disease, but also to respect the dead and give them a proper burial, no matter which side they were from, which I think is really lovely, actually. Yeah. Dysentery? Dysentery. Okay, thank you for telling me. These short peace treaties brought the Anzacs and Ottomans together and let them see the enemy and meet them in pleasant conversation. These meetings between the two armies developed into camaraderie and friendship on the battlefield. Both sides saw the others and realized they were not so different. They saw people not enemies, just fighting for their country. The Anzacs called the Ottomans, from then on, Johnny Turk, an endearing term to refer to the happy and friendly nature of the Turkish soldiers. From then on, the Turks and Anzacs would trade food and letters with each other and set up target dummies from tin cans for sniper practice. It became very common that if you found an enemy soldier in no man's land, you would bring him back to your trench, heal him, and then send him on his way. In fact, one story of a Turkish soldier is very well known to have started this. He found an injured Anzac soldier left on the ground with no one to help him, so the Turkish soldier picked him up, brought him to the Ottoman trench, and healed him. After he was well, they sent him back to the Anzac trench, no questions asked. The Anzacs saw this Turk as a hero, and the story spread all across the trench lines. Now, if any Turkish soldier was to be found injured, the Anzac would repay the debt and heal him too, just as Johnny Turk would do. That's sweet. Very humble. They probably felt bad for them, to be honest. And obviously, in very, like, Aussie fashion, you gotta make a silly little nickname. Alright, the counterattack. As the unplanned stalemate continued in Gallipoli, many unforeseen problems emerged in the campaign. The land forces were supposed to take the peninsula in just a few weeks, but it had now been months since the landing. And the first day objective, Achi Baba, had not been taken yet. Many soldiers and officers alike thought the campaign to be pointless. The cliff top of Achi Baba began being a constant reminder of their failure. The lack of progress was not the only problem. Command was not prepared for trench warfare, and the supplies were running short. What was meant to be a week-long fight turned to months, and supplies like water and food were limited. All of the beaches had already been turned into harbours. Sending ammunition, food, and reinforcements. However, the biggest problem was water. Men were now dead in the summer, and dehydration was a common injury. Water could not be transported. Britain and any other allied country was too far away, and the water in the wells were filled with salt. There was only one source of water, a massive ship that distilled and purified water. This water from the ship would be sent in a large metal tank that would have to be dragged up a cliff at the side of the beach, pushed through and open plains while under artillery fire, and finally pulled to the trench line so that each soldier could have half a cup of warm water in the scorching heat. The problem of an extended conflict was obvious. The command of Britain knew if the Gallipoli campaign was to succeed, a counterattack would have to be done now and quickly before it was dragged on any longer. The counterattack was planned, and it would land 3,000 British volunteer soldiers at Suvla Bay, undetected, and attack the Ottoman defences from behind, surrounding them and taking Achi Baba. However, it would not go like this. Though the plan was perfect, a fatal mistake would cost them the campaign and be the fourth and final mistake in the campaign. The 3,000 volunteer soldiers landed at the dead of night, completely undetected by the Ottomans. Everything was going as planned, but the 3,000 undetected soldiers would flank the Ottomans and win the campaign. But that didn't happen. Instead, the 3,000 volunteer soldiers... Huh? Wait, I didn't know this. The 3,000 undetected soldiers would had a beach party through the night and day. British command could not believe the stupidity they had witnessed. What the fuck are they doing? The final strike to defeat the Ottomans, the counterattack that would win Gallipoli, was foiled by a beach party. The party gave the Ottomans the chance to see what the British were planning and to give them enough time to set up machine guns and trenches. The counterattack failed. The soldiers were trapped at the beach, slowly being killed off. Over the next 4 days, 25,000 men would die. Christ on a cracker! What the heck? Alright. And then this is the... I think this is the last one. Called The Greatest. Huh? Sorry about the spelling mistakes. I was 13 when I made it. No, don't worry. I'm trying to read around it. Don't worry. Don't worry at all. I understand. It's very good. It's very, very good. Let's just remember, guys. This was written by, like, a kid. It's really good. Almost forget. It's, like, really, really good. It was British soldiers, by the way, not Aussies. Yeah, I know. Of course it was. Alright, let's read about the greatest retreat in history. Alright. Many people, not just the soldiers on the ground, thought the campaign was hopeless. British High Command was starting to realize the Gallipoli campaign was one mistake after another. They sent reinforcements to Suvla Bay, but more untrained men just died. The British forces took Koja Chenmen Tepe, but got accidentally bombarded by the British Navy. New Zealand soldiers captured Chinook Bay, but there were no reinforcements to support them. General Hamilton was relieved of command and replaced by General Munro. He travelled to Gallipoli to see it for himself and said, "Well, I've seen the place. It's an awful place. You will never take it." And then, and there, the retreat was absolute. British and Anzac troops would be evacuated from Gallipoli. In a cruel irony, the retreat was the only success in the campaign. It was planned perfectly and performed magnificently. It was the masterpiece of all military retreats. They quietly exited the trench lines weeks before the retreat so that the Ottomans would think that silent trenches were normal. Cricket matches were played to make it seem that Anzacs were here to stay. Water-weighted rifles were set up along the Anzac trenches to make them more active. Navy bombards continued, even though no soldiers were fighting. 83,048 men, 4,695 houses, 1,718 vehicles, and 186 heavy guns were... Oh, horses. Horses, not houses. Sorry, Champy. Were evacuated. I'm like, houses were evacuated? No, horses were evacuated. A signal Ottoman knowing, even though after the British and Anzacs left, the Ottomans still thought they were fighting them. The Ottomans claimed that it was a fantastic victory that had the deaths of thousands of British of Anzac forces laying on the beach dead. However, not a single soldier died in the retreat. They were wounded by a mule's teeth, but unless the mules were Ottoman spies, I don't think they knew the Anzacs retreated. In fact, the Anzac left notes for the Turkish soldiers saying they could eat the food supplies they'd left for them, and that it wasn't poisoned. Gallipoli was the greatest failed beach landing in history, but it was also the greatest retreat in history. How ironic. Did you guys like it? Did you guys like the story? Oh, that was a nice story, even though it's kind of sad. But I think it's a really, really important story to tell. Just shows how some mistakes, you know, when you're in these kinds of situations can cost you so much. And just about, like, the camaraderie and kindness of Aussies, you know. I made friends with them and, like, gave them nicknames even though they had, like, killed so many soldiers. What was that other story you had? Yeah, now let me see. I know there is a storybook on this. Let me see if I can find it. Because I read this book in school. And this is a really beautiful story that really touched me. Just give me a second. Here we go. Yum, yum, yum. Ah. Here we go. So this is a really good book that you guys may enjoy me reading. Now let me just put it up on the screen. This is a picture book, but it's also an informative picture book that is based on a true story that I think you guys will really enjoy. And if you live in Australia or New Zealand, you know about the Anzacs, you may know of this story. Give me one humble second. Okay. Sorry, I just had to get stuff set up, but I think I got it now. Kinda gonna use something similar to what I did in my Harry McClary streams. So this is a book called... I'll show you guys the front cover. It's a really beautiful book. And I will put it on the whole screen because it's got some nice art too. Okay. Now, yeah, this is a very famous story. It's a very good story. Very nice story. This, I haven't read this in a long time. Oops. Now, this is a book called Simpson and His Donkey. It's a World War I Anzac story. And it was very humble. And I remember reading this in school, I think. Okay. Jack and Billy grew up in the back lanes of Tiny Dock, where a river carried great ships out to sea. During summer holidays, they led donkeys along the seaside, trail for a penny ride. From morning till twilight, they paced the sands of South Shields, whistling Geordie tunes for passengers balanced on the donkeys' backs. In winter, Jack carted milk to support his family. With a ring of his bell, he worked the cobbled streets, taking payments with his frozen fingers. In the harbour, freighters and tugs sounded off with toots and whistles. Jack dreamed that one day he would sail away on a great adventure. "There's no need to worry about it, Billy. I'll not forget you." At 17, Jack signed up as a stoker on the ship bound for Australia. He beat his way through the bush with a swag and a billy can. He cut cane and rode the boundary of a cattle station. He laboured in coal mines, then joined the gold rush. But Jack never dug a fortune from the ground. Instead, he returned to the sea. Down in the bows of a steamship, Jack led the furnace. "I wish I was home," he thought. "Every bird likes its own nest." Jack was enjoying a spell ashore when he had heard the news that England and Germany were at war. He was quick to enlist in the army. It was his chance to do his duty for the king and country, and a ticket home quicker than planned. Jack trained as a stretcher bearer, but the troops sailed for Egypt, not England, as he'd hoped. In the shadow of ancient pyramids, soldiers practiced for battle. Jack marched through the desert and treated mock wounded at a dressing station pitched among the palms. When Turkey entered the war, British commanders drew up plans to launch an invasion on the Gallipoli Peninsula. "You'll find out where I am when the Australians make a start," Jack wrote to his mother. On a moonless April morning, a fleet of destroyers steamed upon the Turkish coast. Steel hulls formed a line facing the landing point. Jack climbed down a rope ladder into a crowded rowboat. Pale-faced soldiers confessed their faith as the convoy approached the rugged clay-faced cliffs. Enemy gunfire sparked from the scrub-covered ridges. Jack's heart pounded. "I wish I was warm in canny old shields," he whispered. At dawn, the boats grounded on a pebbled seabed. Turkish machine guns snickered, whipping up spouts of water. Jack felt the zip of a bullet past his head. He tumbled into the icy Aegean Sea and waded to shelter beneath an overhang. Soldiers stormed the beach under the orders of secure higher ground. They fixed bayonets and charged up the razorback ridges. Enemy artillery exploded overhead, showering the cove with fiery schnapple. Why has it always got that word in it? Exposed to bullet and bomb, Jack edged along narrow tracks to evacuate a constant stream of wounded lifeboats that lined the shore. The first aid station at Hell's Spit was unprepared for the mounting casualties. Stretchers soon became a scarce commodity. Jack was responding to a cry for help when he came upon a donkey cowering in a gully of pines. A shell burst high above, spitting out a hail of metal. Jack ignored the concussion of artillery and crawled across the shell-torn ground. "Bless you, wee little fella," he whispered into a long, fluffy ear, and he christened his frightened friend Duffy. Within reach of a dozen enemy rifles, a soldier raised his bloody arm. Jack leaped over the craters gouged into the battlefield, dodging shot and shell. It doesn't do to linger in nasty spots like this, he said. Jack gently lifted his patient onto the donkey's back. He guided Duffy with a lead rope, fashioned from a field of dressings, and pitched his way down the stony ravine. That was the first of many brave rescues in sunshine or drizzling rain. Jack Simpson marched up Schnapple Valley with Duffy by his side. They made 12 to 15 trips each day, carrying water to thirsty troops, returning with a soldier straddled over the donkey's back. At the night, Jack guided Duffy by lantern light down the zigzag track and camped with an Indian artillery unit. The Sikh gunners named Bahadur, bravest of the brave. Oh, they named him that, okay. Simpson and his donkey earned the administration of all who watched them work. The Colonel declared Duffy Colonel decorated Duffy's forehead with a red cross armband. "You're worth 100 men to me," he said. On the morning of May 19th, Turkish forces launched a fiery assault. It seemed a miracle that anyone could survive when the air was hazy with lead. "Snipers are busy in the gully ahead," warned a soldier. "It's hot as hell up here." "I'll be all right," said Jack with a wave. "Have breakfast ready when I get back." With the rising sun behind him, a Turkish soldier took aim and slowly squeezed his trigger. His target was leading a donkey up a steep incline at the junction of Dead Man's Ridge. The bullet struck Jack in the back and passed through his heart. Soldiers dragged their mate to the side of the track, and word passed down the line. Battle-weary men were misty-eyed when Duffy trudged down the valley alone. Indian gunners risked their lives to gather a wreath of poppies and decorated a wooden cross. A hush descended over the battlefield. In the maze of terraced dugouts, candles flickered like evening stars the night Jack Simpson was buried at Hell's Spit. Jack rescued over 300 men during 24 days. Among them was an English soldier who grew up in the back lanes of Tiny Dock. There's no need to worry. Jack had called out over the stutter of gunfire, "I'll not forget you." Jack supported the wounded man to prevent him from slipping from the donkey, with Duffy trotting by his side. Jack smiled and whistled a Geordie tune and led Billy through the valley of death, lest we forget. It's a really nice story. It's kind of sad, but it's still a really good story. And this is based on a true story about a real man. Which is really sad, but yeah. Donkey and lovely man saved lots of soldiers. He actually saved many people from dying, and from bleeding out to death. So yeah, he did a really good job. But I thought that was something that would be an important thing to talk about. Oops, that was me. Not the window. There we go. Yeah. But that was a story I heard when I was younger, and I thought it was really nice book to share with you guys. But yeah, Duffy the little donkey. Do you guys like him? So yeah, donkeys are kind of synonymous as well with Anzac Day too, because that's such an important part of Anzac Day. Just how just how selfless the soldiers were, you know? Yeah. He's a humble donkey. Yeah, wait, let me see if I can get a photograph of him. Yeah, here's him and his donkey. This is a photo of the real guy, I think. That's Simpson and his donkey, Duffy. And he really was decorated with a red cross like that. Isn't that so beautiful and sweet? It's just so beautiful, just to remember, how, selfless and kind a lot of these soldiers were, you know, the Anzac soldiers were. And I mean, you look at Simpson, he looks like such a young man, you know, he looks young. Looks like a little kid. And he did something so brave and amazing and saved so many people. And had such a fantastic idea based on something he did in his childhood. It's really lovely. Really good story. Yeah, so he got a little cross in the end, I think. And Duffy got a kiss, I bet. In the end. Yeah. So yeah, I mean... yeah, really humble. So yeah, next time you want to be mean to donkeys, think about Duffy. Yeah. Anyway, kind of a sad story and a kind of a sad stream, but that's kind of what this is supposed to be about. you know, like remembrance and stuff. Yeah. So, yeah. Kind of sad, but... And I'll quickly touch on the poppies before I go. So the poppies as like... The poppies are kind of more associated with like Remembrance Day. Yeah. So the poppies, actually, like the red poppies, they famously grew on the battlefields of the Western Front. There's a lot of poetry and stories. I think it's called hang on, let me read a poem that has something to do in Flanders Fields poem. So this is a poem about the poppies, a World War I poem. Yeah, by Lieutenant Colonel John McRae. And this is a very famous poem. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, sacred herd amid the guns below. We are the dead, so short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw, the torch be yours and hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep through the poppies grow in Flanders Fields. And there's Flanders Fields is, if you don't know, it's in Belgium, and that's where the Western Front was. And yeah, apparently they just saw these beautiful flowers growing through the wreckage and graves of these soldiers. So it's now been used as a symbol of remembrance for Anzac Day and from Remembrance Day too. So it's customary for people to wear a little red poppy. Oh, here we go. This is history. This is a conclusion to the PowerPoint. Let me just read this real quick. Gallipoli was one of the most challenging events in Australia and New Zealand history. Never before has these two nations seen war. Never before had they seen such horror. Gallipoli gave Australia a national identity. Before, Australia was just another British colony, ready to serve the Queen and the country. However, after the massacre of young Australians at the hands of incompetent British command and Winston Churchill, Australia was its own nation, not just a colony. We drifted from British culture and became our own. The tragedy of Gallipoli, the bravery and the chivalry gave Australia its own name. We were the smiling soldiers that respected our enemies as equals. We were the crazy soldiers that took 1/4 of all prisoners' supplies on the Western Front while making up 10% of their forces there. We were the happy mates that would help an enemy just as much as a friend. After Gallipoli, we weren't another British colony, we were Australian, which is really lovely. And it's true, and that's why I'm so proud to be Australian, because Australians are just so great. You know, all of history, we've been really cool. Like, we've been pretty awesome sauce, I will say. Which is really cool, yeah. So yeah, for Remembrance Day, I'm pretty sure it's oh god, what day is Remembrance Day? It's in like November or something, isn't it? Yeah, November the 11th. On November the 11th, if you want to, wear a little red poppy for remembrance. A lot of people do that here. You could do that as well. Even if you live in another country. Maybe don't do it if you're Turkish, though. I don't know how they feel about it. Yeah. Yeah, no one really complains about us. It's just sometimes our government can be a bit silly. But it's okay. It's not our fault. But yeah, anyway. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching my stream today and learning about lots of different things, such as like Gallipoli, about World War One, maybe a side of World War One that you didn't know about more Australian history and culture, and I guess more about Australia. It was really fun, and I very much enjoyed it. I hope that you guys had a really fun time watching. I'm sorry about the collab today being cancelled. I genuinely didn't realize until I started the stream that was going to happen. So, yeah, I apologize about that. But it should be okay. Maybe it will be another time. I guess we'll see. But thank you so much for coming as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's probably a symbol of remembrance for them too. I guess they're on the same battlefields, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. Thank you so much for coming, guys. I had a fun time. Let me know in the comments what was like the most interesting part for you, and if you learned anything new. And also, if you want me to cover more Australian history topics, let me know, because I'd be very interested in learning more alongside you and teaching you guys. So it'd be really fun. So yeah, thank you so much for coming, guys. I hope that you guys had fun. Kind of a bit of a sad stream, but I hope that you know, like, we can have a happy one next time. But that's fine. It's better to be sad and remember than to, you know, make light of a sad situation, whatever. Anyway, thank you so much for coming, and I hope that you guys had a fantastic time. And I'll see you guys later. Bye. But you know, hi. I got things to do and I got places to see. So I better go now. But I love you guys so much. And I will see you guys later. Bye, everybody. Bye. See you later. Bye. Whoa.